Okay, we are back. This is Techmath1. We're looking at the review for the Chapter 11-12 test. And here goes. We're finding the missing angle. So interior angles of a triangle have to add up to 180 degrees. So you just add the 25 and the 82. That gives you 107. And then you just subtract the 107 from the 180. And so, what is that, 73 degrees? And that's it. So that's a quick one. Same with this angle B, 39, when it's got a square in it, that means 90 degrees. So you add 90 plus 39, that's 129, and then you subtract that from 180. And so you're looking at 51 degrees. Right. This one, they want you to find angle C, and they tell you it's an isosceles triangle. Well, that means this and this are the same. If those two are the same, and they gave us this angle as 64, you take 180, you subtract the 64 from it, and that leaves 116 degrees. And then it's got to be split evenly between those two. So it's just 116 divided by 2. And opposite angles of the same length sides have to be the same. So 116 divided by 2, that's 58 degrees. All right. Then next we do, they want you to find h, the height. It's actually an altitude. So what do we know about this triangle? Well, this is a 90-degree triangle. If you drop that, it cuts it into 12 and 12. So we know this is 12, and this is 24, and this is h. And so we're going to use Pythagorean's theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. The side opposite the 90 is always the hypotenuse. That's the one you got to get right. This is the c, and a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So the one that's all by itself is always the hypotenuse. That's the one opposite the 90-degree angle. So we got h squared plus 12 squared equals 24 squared. And now you just solve that. So that is going to be h squared plus 144 equals 576. And then subtract the 144. And remember to take the square root. That's a very common mistake on this problem. People tell me 432. It can't be a triangle that's 24 and 12 and 432. We have to take the square root of that. And there is a plus or minus in it algebraically, but since it's a length, the minus just gets thrown away. So I didn't even write it down on the notes, just the 20.78, so we'll call it 20.8. They said they wanted 10th place. All right. Okay, let's keep going. So on the next page, we've got pretty much the same as this, only they're going to have you find the hypotenuse. So instead of squaring the sides, subtracting and taking the square roots, you're going to square the sides and add them and take the square roots. They give you a 90-degree triangle, sides 40 and 55, and it's missing side J, which is the hypotenuse. So you got 40 squared plus 55 squared equals J squared. That is 1600 plus 3025 equals J squared. That is 4625 equals J squared. And so we don't want J squared, we want J. So take the square root on both sides. The square root of J squared is J. The square root of 4625 is 68.0073. And then they want it to 10th place, so we'll call it 68.0. If you just say just 68, that's also fine. Remember, the 0.0 shows that it's precise out to that level, to 10th level, but it's fine. If you just told me 68, mathematically it's the same as 68.0. All right. So on the next one here, we got number 6. Again, Pythagorean's theorem. So we got a right triangle, we got a 14 and a 16 and F. And so same dog, different fleas. 14 squared plus F squared is equal to 16 squared. That is 196 plus F squared equals 256. And subtract off the 196, subtract off the 196. We got F squared, that isolates our variable, right? F squared is equal to 60. And then take the square root of 60. And round to hundredths. So it is 7.74596. We'll call it 7.75. All right, next one, find the area of the figure. Oh, okay, so this one is a little more challenging. So they got that. 12.84. So we know it's isosceles, which means those two angles are the same, which means if we drop an altitude down it, that'll split that into 2 pieces. And so here. My drawing's not great. I'm not great at drawing, but they gave us this total length as 10.82 there, and this total length is 8.47 there. So we can find the area of the rectangle by just multiplying those two, okay? That's not difficult. The tough part is finding the area of the triangle, where we know that that is dropped and it's exactly split in 2. I know my picture's off. But so we cut this in half, 5.41. So now look at what we have. We've got this scenario going on. We've got a right triangle where this is 5.41 and this is 12.84. But what we want is this, the height of the triangle. So we're going to use Pythagorean's theorem to find that height of the triangle, and then we're going to use the 2 formulas. The area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height, and the area of a rectangle is length times width, and add those together. So first we have to find the height of the triangle, h. So we're going to say h squared plus 5.41 squared equal to 12.84 squared. So h squared plus 29.2681 is equal to 164.8656. Kind of ugly numbers compared to what we were working with before. So you subtract off the 29.2681, subtract off the 29.2681, and then h squared is equal to 135.5975. So I went out 4 places. Probably 3 places would be good. Always go at least thousands place. Do not go to hundredths place. You round to hundredths place, that'll really cost us down the road in round off here, and you'll be off by 1 or 2 numbers. If you go out to at least thousandths, will likely be the same. All right, so we take the square root of that, and we get 11.644633996. And so we'll take that out 3 places. We'll call it 11.645 for the height. So now let's go back here. We'll put in the 11.645. And so now the area is going to equal 1/2 times base times height plus the length times the width of the rectangle. So we now know the base of this triangle was already given, 10.82. The height we just figured out, 11.645 plus 10.82 times 8.47. And so the area of this irregular figure is going to be, well, I guess a house kind of looking thing, is 62.999 plus 91.645. and then we add those two together, 154, 645, I think, right? 6, 4, 4, 8, 14, carry the 1, and we'll go 6, 4, 4. And then we'll go to hundredths place, so 154.64. Is what they want. And that would be in square inches. All right, let's do 8, 9, 10. And then I'll do the first 3 now. So 8, 9, 10 is actually pretty quick. It's knowing sine, cosine, and tangent. And since it's open note, I expect everybody's going to get these right. Tangent of B, sine of angle A, and the cosine of angle A. And so when you look at that, here's our right angle. This is C, this is B, this is A. Side opposite is little a, little b, little c. And so when we want the tangent of this angle, that is opposite over adjacent. This one's the hypotenuse. The one opposite the 90 is the hypotenuse. So it's got nothing to do with the fact that it's C. That's just a nice coincidence. Hypotenuse is always opposite the 90-degree angle. Okay, so don't get intertwined with letters and saying, oh, if it's C, that's always the hypotenuse. That's not true. This could just as easily be a B there and a C there, and this would be little b and that would be little c. And this would still be the hypotenuse. So maybe write that down where the hypotenuse is. So SOHCAHTOA, what does that mean? SOHCAHTOA means the sine is opposite over hypotenuse, the cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and the tangent is opposite over adjacent. So when they want the tangent of this angle, B, that's opposite over adjacent, B over A. The sine of A, so I'm going to erase that. We're on this angle now. The sine of A is opposite over hypotenuse, opposite over hypotenuse. So A over C. And the cosine of A is adjacent over hypotenuse, B over C. All right. Okay, next video, we'll do the next page.